but it seems to be complicated. Doesn't need to be complicated. But anyway, it looks like it might be starting. So can everyone move over to, I put the link. Sorry, this is all crazy because I have my phone like hanging on the edge of my laptop. I swear I'm going to get a professional setup one day. I promise. I promise. So, okay, kids, let's get started on our conversation for today because already time is clicking. And move over to, hi, Goth. Hi, Goth girl. So, yesterday we spoke a lot about, and I'm going to be looking this way so you guys can get a gist of what it is, okay? Darla says, that's a big leap from what they taught us in sex ed. All I got was a Ziploc bag and a disposable razor and shaving cream. And see? When we don't talk about sex, hi Rosemary, hi Philip, thank you. When we don't talk about sex, bad things happen. Bad things happen. And here's the deal. If we don't talk about sex to the youngsters, and we normalize it and we make their bodies normal and we say, you know what? This is a way for you to feel happy about your body. You can touch it. You can feel it. You can feel sensations. If we don't start having that conversation to the younger generation, I think that that's very dangerous. I'm a believer that if you don't teach about whatever that is, you will have problems. And so the fact that people wrote me this morning and told me that they're talking about the buck off in a parenting group, I just was like, what amazing news to wake up to, because you know how I feel about sex, you know how I feel about reclaiming your body, and you know how I feel about the fact that we were lucky enough to produce a product for our community that enables us to teach to reconnect. And so where do we start? We start with the youngsters. Okay, Stacey's going to stay there. Thank you, Stacey, for doing that and pushing people over. I appreciate that. I see lots of people coming in the room here. Thank you guys for doing that. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal when we get the parents talking about sexual health products. Like, really? What awesome parents. Those are awesome parents who talk to their kids about sex and talk to their kids about learning their bodies through sexuality. Unshaming your child by saying, oh, hey, there's this thing called the buck off that you could use that might make you feel good, or, you know, take it in the bedroom and have a good time with yourself. That is really great. Hi, Leon. Move over to YouTube. That is a really great not an uncomfortable way to talk to your kids about sex. Just normalizing it. And that's with anything, you guys. That's with anything. Normalize the fact that little Susie feels like little Tommy. Normalize it. It's okay, Tommy, that you're Susan, but you want to be Tommy. Who cares? Just go with it and play. Do you know how amazing it is when parents speak to their children that way? My parents spoke to me that way. My parents let me just be Buck. Wasn't a problem. Well, until we had to do things like family functions, but that wasn't their fault. That's the fault of society saying that I had to wear a dress to go to a family function. Hi, Alex. Good morning. That's not the fault of my parents. It's the fault of society creating that for my parents. Philip says, I was taught masturbation was wrong. We all were, Philip. We all were. We were all taught that masturbation. Even me. I was taught that in my family when I masturbated a lot as a 15-year-old. I did. But I did it very secretly, and I didn't want people to know about it, and I felt very shamed around it, and I didn't feel comfortable about it. And my parents weren't really okay about it either. So I think Crystal says the masturbation talk was way harder than the puberty talk, Crystal says, and Crystal is a parent. Cole says, I never got the talks from my parents, and Philip says, I already knew with my kids that to let him have the time to himself. It's unbelievable that parents don't talk to their children about sex. I know I have a lot of parents here in the B Cup. I know that. And I'm going to take a poll. My next poll on Twitter, and I'll put it on Facebook, is how many parents talk to their children about sex? And what age did you start to talk to your child about sex? And did you get the sex talk from your parents? this is a really important thing that we should, I mean, as you know, I don't have fucking kids. I don't have kids. I don't want kids. I don't have time for kids. I'm selfish. It's all good. I like kids, but I don't have them. But that said, I wonder if I had a kid, how would it be? Would I feel comfortable to talk to my kid about sex? Would I be like, go in the other room, Tommy, and have a good time? Or would I be like, that feels a little weird to talk to my kid about that, right? So I don't know. I'm not a parent. So it's very important that I get this feedback from the parents. I have a lot of parent friends who talk to me all the time about their kids, and they tell their kids about me. And I think that's pretty fucking amazing, that parents talk to their kids about me and who I am and what I do. I mean, that speaks volumes to how I've broken through sex-wise and body-wise to a population of people who will be raising the next generation. Goth Punk says, at age 15, I was having sex. Yep, that I figured out I was bi because I'm dry. It's hard for me to lube myself. Well, that's where lubrication comes in, my friend, and it's important. Amanda says, I learned from school pamphlets and my crazy cult religion. Amanda, what religion is that? You know how I got? Let me tell you. Remember, I'm going to say it again. I'm 55. So when I was in junior high school, it was in the 70s, and this is so funny because in the 70s, we used to have to go to the auditorium, and the boys and the girls came in together, and we sat together, I remember, and then they would show a video, not a video because it was back in the day, a film, an actual film. Oh, Jehovah Witness. Yeah, gotcha, my friend. A film. And the film was about boys and girls going together, and you might get feelings. I remember, you might have feelings for each other, whatever that is, and then they show kissing, and then I remember they said, and the girls will start to menstruate. And I was like, what the fuck? And then everyone was like, ew! And I was like, oh shit. And then boys will have, I think they said something like boys will ejaculate. And we're like, what the fuck? And they would show cartoons of ejaculation. But that's pretty awesome. Adamus says, I read Masters and Johnson's sex manual when I was 7 instead of my parents telling me, well, you're way ahead of the ball game, my friend. As a 7-year-old, that's pretty advanced. But that is the type of sex ed that I got. But guess what my real sex ed was? My real sex ed was other kids, playing with other kids. That's what we did. After school, in school, we made out. I made out with boys and girls back in the day. We made out, we touched each other, we did all the things that are normal that kids do when they're experimenting with their sexuality or just their feelings in their body. And I don't understand why we cannot talk about this as a normal thing. Amanda says, we were told that wearing tight jeans would lead to dirty acts. Oh, yes, it will, my friend. It will, my friend. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But that said, we need to talk about that too. This idea that women cannot wear tight pants. They would never say that to a man. They would never say, don't wear tight pants so your penis bulges out and everybody sees it because everybody might get excited and rape you. They don't say that to guys, right? But they only ever say it to girls or ladies. What you wear could actually make a man feel very uncomfortable and want to attack you. Fuck you! Are you fucking kidding me? We're still having that goddamn conversation that women can't wear hot pants. Hi, Tori, good morning. Women can't wear tight pants because what did you say? Amanda says, we were told that wearing tight jeans would lead to dirty acts. What? That is really fucking shame. That's religion shaming people. That's a certain type of organized religion that shames people. Not all religion does that, but there are certain types. We need to stop this idea that how you dress instigates rape, or how you dress is your fault if you get somebody attacking you, or it's your fault if you walk out the door looking way too sexy, my friend. Fuck you. Are you kidding me? That means all of us need to go put on our sexiest fucking clothes right now, walk out the door, and parade it around the street. Because it ain't your fault. It is not your fault. People need to start understanding that we need to have people held accountable for their actions. And specifically this idea that what somebody wears, and that could be with men too, you know, it's not just a lady thing. What somebody wears is their own fault because they're bringing this negative attention to them for wearing tight pants. Really? Fuck you. If someone said that to me, I would wear tight pants every single day with a camel toe. And then let's see what people say. So don't even say that to me. I hate that. You know, I don't pack. I don't pack for a reason, because I don't want to pack, because I'm very proud of my vagina and I have nothing to hide from anybody. I don't have to falsely lead anybody on. I don't care. I don't care. It's not my thing to have a penis in my pants and then say I don't have a penis. I don't need to do that. It's okay for other people. They need to do that, and that's really important for them. Hi, Moo Star. Thanks for showing up. It's very important that people understand, do things for yourself. This idea that we're taught, even in our community in 2017, that what you wear is important, how you present is important. If you don't do this, you're not part of. If you don't, what's the name of the show today? What did we call it? Creating yourself, right? Is that? Trampaw's old and he forgets things. Creating you without fear. Without fear. Good morning, Jimmy. Nice to see you. Hi, Kate. Nice to see you too. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, to be a role model is a very difficult thing. And I don't know if I consider myself a role model, but wait a minute. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that on. I'm going to take that compliment. And I'm going to say thank you very much. I'm going to say thank you very much. Because before I used to say I'm not a role model, but actually I am a role model. I am a role model. I'm a role model to the kids. That's all I care about. I'm a role model to the kids. And I want to just be like, you know, look, when I was 17 or 18 or even 16 years old, I didn't have anybody like me. I only had G.I. Joe. There was nobody even thinking. We had tomboys, and we talked about that. And, you know, we talked about me being a tomboy, and that was all great. But when the shit hit the fan at 16 and Mr. Buck wasn't transitioning over to be back to Susan again, that's when people started having a heart attack and freaking out on me. And that's when all the shit happened. I didn't have a Buck to look at to say, oh, but look. I don't think that we have a lot of, especially trans male role models in our community, which we need to start to put out there. We have some great voices in our community, great voices. And of course, always the first one that comes to me is Aiden Dowling. He's one of my favorite voices in our community for trans men. He's very grounded. He's very focused. Teague is a great spokesperson, a great role model, a great guy. We have some really great guys. Laith Ashley, beautiful, awesome guy, very smart, very grounded. So that said, yes, we need all sorts of role models. And I guess I am a role model in a way. And it used to be a very difficult thing for me to say that. But then because I didn't want my ego to, whoops, sorry kids. I didn't want my ego to get involved. I swear I'm going to fix this so it's not so chunties. That's what they say in Mexico when it's all like rigged. It's called chunties. So there, in a very specific part of Mexico. So there, that's that. That's that. You know what I mean? Like, to be a role model is a huge thing. It's a privilege. It's an obligation. It's an honor. It's all kinds of things. But it takes a lot of, I think, will to make change to be appointed as a role model, because it is a big deal. And for me, I don't want to be somebody who they said, well, Buck said you could do that. I do sort of want to do that, but I don't. There's a way I want to teach you to think on your own. I want to be the role model that says, oh, I'm allowed to have my own thoughts. I'm a trans man who thinks this way. I don't think the same way as the rest of the community. Does that not make me trans? That's what I want for the youngsters and the people who will ever listen to me get my message as a role model. And my message is not to worry what other people think about you. Not to worry that you're not trans enough. Not to worry that other people are talking shit. Because my friends, There will be always people who talk shit. Always. Tori says, please, Goth Girl, please put the blame where it belongs. The rapist is first, and oh, did I miss something? And most wrong. Second, the parents who don't teach their boy not to be a rapist. Yes, we need to talk to that, my friends. We need to talk to the fact that we're not talking to the young men in this country about what it means to be a man, your feelings. You cannot just act out because you see a lady in hot pants walking down the street. You cannot just act out and be like, woo, ah, lady, la, 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 whatever you fucking say. That's not okay. In fact, it's not masculine. It's actually weakness. That is not masculinity. That is weakness. When you react and act to make somebody feel comfortable in their own self, you have just caused somebody to have less feelings about themselves that are positive because you made them feel uncomfortable walking down the street. What is that? A power trip? Possibly. I think it's kind of like a power trip that men do in order to sort of say, we are the dominant ones. You will not walk the street in hot pants sexy because we will be like, bleh. No, 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 no. This man won't stand for that. This man will not teach that. This man will actually reteach the way we talk about women, the way we act around women, the way masculinity. What the fuck is masculinity anyway? What is masculinity? Nobody can answer that. You know, I get that question all the time. What makes you a man, Buck? In a lot of interviews I do. What makes you a man, Buck? And the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, it sure ain't a penis. Hi, Austin and Melissa. Hi, Azra. Nice to see you. Oh, it sure ain't a penis. And this, my friend, is what we need to talk about. This is what we need to talk about. So, let me have a drink of my coffee for one moment because I want to talk to you about... I'm missing a whole conversation on YouTube, my friends. So, are we talking about somebody being raped? And that... It's a very difficult subject to talk about, but a very important subject to talk about. But I think we can talk about that in the next couple days. Today, what I really want to talk about before it's time to go here is this. Creating yourself. Hi, Hubert. Nice to see you. Creating yourself. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to you to create yourself? I'm going to tell you what it means to me, but eventually I want to get to, Tori says, masculinity is how men act, so it is not a constant. Exactly. Adam says, I've experienced the use of selective compliments in my childhood. It can be very toxic. Oh, most of us had some toxicity in our childhood. Most of us have had fucked up shit happen to us in our childhood. How do we move out of that? Those are called triggers. Those are called PTSD. Those are called real things that have kept people down and out and kept people from moving forward. I have shit happen to me as a kid too, and I hung on to it forever. I've been lucky enough to be able to find the space to blow it out and say, whatever, that shit happened to me when I was a kid. I'm an adult now, and I'm not going to let that ruin my life or run my life. I've been very blessed in a way to learn how to release that shit that was keeping me angry, down, hateful, not compassionate, not empathetic, none of it, because it was keeping me down. I was letting my past direct my future. And that is the biggest mistake you can make. You must work on yourself. If there are things that you feel that you are having triggers or you are having impossibility to walk through the world, you must look at what that is deep. Don't be fearful of creating that space for you to get rid of that baggage, because when you get rid of that baggage, you will become the person that you want to be next, because you're not letting that baggage rule your life. And this is what I speak to constantly in our community. That thing called the trigger warning is a very important thing, but it's been taken to such a level that it's like it has impaired. It has put our community in such a standstill. It has put our community in a standstill because everyone has a trigger now. That didn't exist before, and yet everybody was moving through the world creating their space, doing their stuff. The queer community is no longer a queer community. The queer community is now a conservative community. That's not queer. That's not queer. We are not, that is not a queer community. That is a conservative community. And so anybody who thinks they're queer, yet they tell people not to use tranny or dyke or faggot or any derogatory statement is not a queer person. Because queer comes from the roots of punk rock. Queer comes from a place where we were like, raw, you are not going to tell us what to do. Raw, we're queer. Raw, you can't. That's what being queer is. Queer is not fitting in the box. Queer is not fitting in a space where people are telling you what to do. It's the whole point of queer. Queer and punk are the same thing. Go and figure out what it means to be a queer and come back and then have a conversation with me. But if you're saying and claiming you are queer and you're telling the world how to speak in our community, you're not a queer person. You're not a queer person. You are actually a person of conservative values. You are actually a person who should go over there and hang out with Trump. Because you, my friend, have infiltrated our queer community in order to take it and control it and not let us be queers on our own terms. That is not queer. And I am challenging you. I am challenging you people out there who think you are queer, who think you started the queer movement, who think you can tell us how to be queer. You are not queer. You are not queer and you're not part of the queer movement. You are actual conservative people who are trying to control this. And we as queer punks in our community are not going to stand for it. We speak and stand on our own 2 feet. We are creating our own space. So I'm going to go back to this idea of fear. Fear is stopping you from creating your own space. And it could be many reasons why it's doing that. And I'll tell you a couple examples. Community leaders, gatekeepers as I like to call them. The gatekeepers are watching. And the minute any of us step over that boundary or over that thing that they are calling rules and regulations of our community, you are now ostracized from our community. You're never late, Alex. That doesn't work that way. You can never be late to the B Cup. We are here for you when you can make it and when you can't. It's all good. And that's why we have it taped now so you can watch it. But anyway, let me get back to fear. Fear is the thing that these people in our community called gatekeepers have instilled in all of us in order so that we do not step across the line of language, the line of surgery, the line of talking about who's who, the whatever other rules and regulations that they have given us. Tori says, queer by definition is odd, strange, unusual, funny, peculiar, curious, bizarre, weird, uncanny, freakish. I love you, Tori. Thank you very much. That's exactly what it is. Moonstar says, I can dig that. I'm not like, oh, don't say, though, I don't try to send the message of not calling a person it, especially when my cis friends describe trans people. Let me just tell you something. If you haven't been to the B Cup before, I'm going to tell you something that I believe in and that I always talk about. You, my friend, must have your own thoughts. You, my friend, must walk the world in your own shoes. You, my friend, must understand that you create you and nobody else. Language is a powerful thing. But the one thing that we're missing in the point of language in our community is context and intent. That means with everything that you speak about. Tranny is a bad word under context and intent. If you say, buck you fucking tranny, freaky, weirdo, not cool. Not happy, not cool. But if you say, hey, awesome, I saw the other day riding the tranny corn, and you're like the coolest tranny ever. Done. I'm cool with that, and we figured it out, didn't we? We figured it out with all kinds of derogatory words. Many of my gay men friends call each other faggot, and it's all a term of endearment, context and intent, and that's with everything. If we are not teaching people how to use language with context and intent, then all we're doing is teaching them that tranny is a bad word, which then they put that in their little bank. They put that in their little bank, and then one day when they're walking down the street and they see somebody that they don't like, and they go, ew, that fucking tranny, because they know that that word is hurtful. But when they see me and they say, oh, it's Trampaw, and he actually likes being called a tranny, they can't say it to me because it's like, hey, it's the tranny. And I don't need to explain it to you. I understand you're all very smart and you get what I talk about. But there'll be people watching this video after that I want them to understand. Yes, tranny is a bad word in context and intent. Yes, faggot is a bad word in context and intent. Yes, as cisgender people, you can't basically use the word tranny unless I let you use the word tranny. And you come over to my house and we're talking and I'm like, dude, you could totally call me tranny. That's okay. That's how it works in the cisgender world. Okay? You might not like to be called cisgender. I know there's a hell of a lot of people out there who don't like to be called cisgender. They say it all the time to me. I hate that word. I don't particularly care for the word either. I only use it for education. I only use it because it's the word now that we're supposed to be using. I used to use biological in a lot of my talks back in the day. But that word is really something that can be argued, and it really can be argued. But that said, there are many cisgender people who don't want to be called cis. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to be called cis. So why are we not respecting that? Why do we expect to be respected, yet in turn we do not respect the other communities? That is not gonna happen. You cannot expect the cisgender world to say, we love you transgender people, you're amazing because you make us feel very welcome and you give us conversation and we're figuring out how to walk the world with you side by side. But no, what do they get? You fucking cis scum, you're cis this, you're blah, the problems in the world are because of cis people, blah, blah. Of course no one's gonna wanna hang with us. We now alienated ourselves from a community that was about to take us to the next level. And now we're not at the next level because we fucking pushed them all away. It's a real thing. All you gotta do is think about it in your own life. If that's too big of a window for you to think about it in your own life. Your friend comes over. Your friend comes over. You're like, I don't really like the way you talk. Blah, 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 blah. What's your friend going to be doing? It's going to be like, wow, dude, I'm not coming over to your house anymore. It doesn't feel very welcoming. I don't feel like I'm actually coming to your house and hanging out and we're having coffee. I feel like you're pointing fingers at me because maybe I said something wrong instead of saying, you know what, Buck? I don't really like the way that or whatever. Instead of having conversation, we're pointing fingers. And pointing fingers says guilt to me. That's what it says to me. It doesn't say I want to create a community where we all get along, where cisgender people are going to push us up. I will say it again. Every single one of my products are made by cisgender people. Cisgender people give me their time, their money, their expertise, their love in order to create products for you, my community. So that's why I personally, it's not the only reason, but I personally will tell you, shut up, sit down, stop blaming everything on cisgender people, and look in the fucking mirror. You are part of the problem if you continue to yell out the window that it's everybody else's problem and not yours. You are part of the problem. Alex says, the other day I was called fucking queen and I turned to them and said, yes, you finally got it right. Right on, Alex. Claim it. Hold on to it. Be it. You now turned it around on them. The minute somebody says to you, you're a fucking faggot, and you turn around and you say, right on, dude, I'm such a faggot, you now blew them out the water. They're done. They have no more ammo. It's done. Done. Accept it. Walk away. Move on. Claim it. You watch how powerful that is. It's fucking more powerful than you could ever say anything to anybody. The power of reclaiming your power is powerful. And it means nothing can hurt your feelings. Really, there's very few things that can hurt my feelings now because I know me. I'm very, very in tune to me. I don't need you to tell me I'm okay. I don't. I don't need you to tell me that you are good. I need you to tell me if I'm bad. I need you to tell me if, like, fuck, maybe that's not cool. Maybe we should have a discussion. Fucking totally open to that. I don't need you to tell me I'm good and that makes me crave that attention or be all that. It's not. I don't need the approval of anybody. I don't need it. So, cisgender love sent your way. Right on, Rose. Okay, so if we were just men, Connor says, if we were just men, women, or people without the othership of cis or trans, I think that exactly, that's my point. When we start naming them words that they don't particularly like and words that we don't like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're playing games with each other. We're bouncing off each other's insecurities. We're bouncing off each other's negativities instead of coming together as a group of people that say, what is our ultimate goal? What is it that we want to do? Somebody asked, can you define cisgender? Yes, cisgender is basically the gender of what you identify as and what you were born in. So if you are a man who was born a man and you identify as a man, you are cisgender. So it's what you were born into and how you basically walk the world. That's why I'm transgender or transsexual, because I was born as a woman and I had a sex change to become a man. And yes, I said sex change. And anyone who doesn't like it can fuck off, because I had a sex change. I had my surgery and my transition 20 years ago when we called it a sex change. So I'm a sex change. Yes, I am. And I claimed it. And it's my words and I love it. So I don't really care if you don't like it. It has nothing to do with you. That was me being a little bit of an asshole. I can't help myself sometimes. Okay, kids, time's up. I hardly even drank my coffee. Grandpa has a lot to do today. So, in closing, what am I going to say to you kids? I'm going to say this. Give if you can. Take if you need. Move forward. Get out of the fear. Get out of the fear. We all have it. I have it. Everyone has it. Okay, I'm always honest to you. I'm not perfect, far from it. And what is perfection? I don't even know if that's possible. Is it possible? I don't think so. But I've removed a ton of fear out of my life. I still get fearful to do things, but I walk through those. Example, acting. I've had to do 2 acting jobs where I felt extremely uncomfortable, but I did it. And when I finished it, I felt so fucking accomplished. Find that fear that's holding you back and look at, what is that fear? Why do I have this fear? What do I expect to get from this? Why am I fearful? What is the outcome that is making me fearful? What am I worried about? Am I worried about what someone's going to think about me? Am I worried about how I'm going to feel? Am I worried about whatever the fuck I'm worried about? You need to get to the root. Sorry, I'm totally burping. You need to get to the root of the cause of your fear. Whatever that is. Fear for going to the gym. Fear for changing the way you eat. Fear for walking out the front door. Fear for maybe you just want to dress like a lady all day. And the fear of what people are going to think about you. Or maybe you want to dress like a man all day and you're worried about the way people will always have opinions. It is a real thing. People will always have opinions. Who cares? You will never change that. It is why I will tell you every single day, you must live your life for you and nobody else. And these goddamn gatekeepers and this transgender community are going. I will not stand for it. I will talk about it every day. And I will help you to regain your composure, get back on your own feet, get rid of those goddamn triggers, get rid of the PTSD, or at least keep it manageable so that you're able to function. I want you to function in the world the way I do. I want you to be loved in the world the way I am. I want you to be free and walk the world as the person you dream of every single day of your life. And that, my friends, is getting rid of the fear first. I love you guys. Go out into the world and create that world, okay? It's hot and sweaty, I'm like pouring sweat right now. I'm pouring sweat. It's so hot. Do you guys like my new background? I decided that I wanted to change up and have something a little less my messy, crazy office. I have a messy, crazy office because I'm just too crazy. Go. I'm going to see you guys later, okay? I'm going to bye, Facebook. I'll see you later. I love you guys a lot. I let Facebook go first, okay? But anyway, remember what I told you, kids. I really appreciate you coming over here and hitting YouTube with me so that we can create this whole thing on YouTube. And I think it's going to be a better place. And I really think we're going to get a lot more people watching us and hearing us and joining us and understanding that we want to create a world. We want to create a world of compassion, of love, acceptance, dialogue, opinions, and it's okay. Join us. Be part of it. Because if you don't join us, we will not create and we will not move forward. And I don't give a fuck how you identify. This is a room of people. It is not a room of identification. It is not a room of LGBTQ. Even though I'm wearing my pride and all of that stuff, It doesn't matter. You, my friend, can be whoever you want. I want straight white men coming in here. Because if we bring them in here, they will start to learn. And we will change the way that they actually walk through the world. So we want everybody to join us. We don't discriminate. We don't care. Color, religion, gender, sexuality. We don't care. We care about you creating a world with us so that we can all move forward and stop the nonsense that is happening in our world. The hate, the fear, the death. It's disgusting. And if we don't come together first, we're fucking up shit's creek. And with that, I love you kids.